The next question is from Garrett here, and Garrett says, do you think the protests at the Trump inauguration are justified? That's actually a very good question, and my answer to it is both yes and no. So let me explain that. When I say, yes, it's justified, Donald Trump is a guy who said many things during the campaign season that are disqualifying. And if they're any indication, if they're a 7% indication of what he'll actually do as president, he should be opposed every step of the way. So, for example, when he says, let's ban 1.6 billion Muslims from coming to the country, that's so outside of the realm of that which is rational that this person deserves everybody standing against him and saying, no, that's a bigoted position. What you're doing is you're saying, I'm going to treat all Muslims literally, because I want to keep all of them out of the country. I'm going to treat them all like, hey, maybe you're Al-Qaeda. Maybe you're ISIS. That's crazy. So you got to stand up and fight that. When he says, I'm going to deport 11 million undocumented immigrants, if he actually wants to do that, it's the craziest thing I've ever heard, to kick out every single undocumented immigrant. You got to stand up and fight that. When he says, I want to do nationwide stop and frisk against, minorities, it's used overwhelmingly against minorities. Over 90% of the time, when they do a stop and frisk, it doesn't yield anything. In fact, it's over 95% of the time, it yields nothing. So you take away the Fourth Amendment rights of mostly minorities, because it's mostly used against minorities, and you don't get anything. So it shits on the Constitution, and it's ineffective on top of that. So he wants to do that. No, we're going to stand up and fight you. He says, let's lower wages. We're going to fight you on that. He says, we're going to take out their families overseas. We're going to bring back torture. Fight him on all that. Fight him on all that. So the people who are protesting, yeah, I get it. Makes sense. This is terrible. I say the no part of it, though, is there are a lot of congressional Democrats who are not going to go to the inauguration. They're sitting it out. And my reading of that situation is they're doing it more as a symbolic publicity stunt than as genuine principled opposition. Because the time for them to really fight Trump is when Trump and the Republicans are actually trying to get shit passed in Congress. So they already rolled over on Mattis, one of his picks. Now, by the way, that's the least objectionable pick of Trump because he reportedly talked him out of doing torture. So I get it with Mattis going through. But it looks like they're going to approve Jeff Sessions, for example. It looks like they're going to approve Rex Tillerson. So you want to show me that you're principled, progressive, and liberal, and you're going to fight Trump, and you're going to resist the resistance. That's when you fight him. When he is trying to repeal Obamacare, which is going to kick 20 to 30 million people off their health care, and they don't even have a replacement, and even if they did have a replacement, it'd probably be abysmal and not be anywhere near as good as what Obamacare is, even though Obamacare is really not that great. That's when you fight. They go, oh, we can't. They're going through budget reconciliation, which means that all they need is 51 votes to repeal. Okay, so then invent a way to obstruct. That's simple. Oh, you can't filibuster when it's 51 votes. Really? Well, watch me actually do it. When I have the floor and when I'm talking and when they try to get me to yield, I say no. And I keep going and describing how the Republicans are wrong and they're going to hurt all these people and X number of people are going to die as a result of this move. And you go on and on. You cite the poll numbers. Hey, each provision of Obamacare is overwhelmingly popular. There's only one provision that's not popular. So when you go issue for issue, policy for policy in Obamacare, the American people love it. It's more popular now than it's ever been. So, and then when they keep trying to get me to yield, I say, take me out of here in handcuffs. So I'm going to keep talking. That's how you really obstruct. That's how you really stand up and fight. To do some symbolic bullshit like, I'm going to sit out the inauguration, it honestly comes across as childish because it kind of is. Especially because the reasoning a lot of Democrats are giving is Russian interference in the election. Here we go again with that garbage. So they didn't fucking hack the voting machines, so stop implying that they hacked the election. The taste that leaves in people's mouth is, oh, Russia literally gave the election to Trump by hacking the voting machines. That's not true. The strongest claim made against them is they maybe took the DNC emails and gave them to WikiLeaks and WikiLeaks ran with them. To which I say, up your security, DNC, because you should just have good security, but we should have seen those emails either way. Those are genuine leaks that the American people have a right to see. That's transparency for the powerful, something the left used to always be for until it's used against the corrupt DNC and Hillary Clinton's corruption. Then they go, oh, how dare you do that? Now we hate WikiLeaks and we're complete hypocrites. So you look like babies because you are. You're whining, oh, we lost the election. Oppose him, but oppose him when it makes sense. Oppose him on the policy issues. This general idea of we're just going to treat him like he's not a legitimate president. But he is the president. Like, what do you want me to say? That's not... The vague kind of generalized protest is nonsense. It doesn't mean anything. No matter how much you scream it or how much you cry, he's going to be in the fucking White House. So get your ass to work and prevent the policy disasters that are coming as opposed to doing this symbolic garbage. So in that sense, no. If I was a Democrat and I was a senator or a congressman or whatever, I'd probably go to the inauguration because I'm going to spend the next fucking 4 years obstructing this guy and being the actual resistance. I don't have time for fucking symbolic bullshit. It just comes across as babyish because it is. So for the people protesting him, I get it. And I agree with them in the sense that I think the actual people, the American people who are standing up against him, are just really concerned about a lot of the things he said, and they're right to be. So I get that. For the politicians, for the Congress people, no, you actually have a job to do where you can resist him, and you're going to roll over there, but you're going to do the symbolic gesture here, and that pisses me off.